Hey y'all, if it is your first time joining me here, I just want to say welcome. And if you have returned, I just want to say welcome back. I am so glad that you are here. It makes my heart smile every time I get a chance to engage with you guys. You know, being able to share my world with you means the world to me. It absolutely does. Okay. So today I'm tackling a little bit of a topic that I don't know, I guess it could be a little controversial, for, people who are, super duper patriotic or something. I'm not sure. It could be, maybe, but it's not meant to be. I mean, if anything, it's meant to make you think a little bit. It's not really meant to, tell you how to feel or whatever, and feel free to share exactly how you feel with me in the comments. Okay. Don't come for me in the comments though, because, I ain't sent for you. But the question is something that I think is, it's worth discussing. Is America truly the greatest? When you go outside of the US, you get a different perspective. And I feel like the fact that I've been fortunate enough to visit 50 plus countries, it has allowed me to see things in a different way. It's allowed me to appreciate a lot of things about the US. And it's also made me question certain things, like what's really necessary, or have we always been told the truth about everything? Um, yeah. So while I do believe that there are so many great things about the US, I also understand that the vast majority of us Americans are not as well versed on history, are not as critical and analytical as we probably should be when it comes down to the actions that our government takes. Um, yeah, and who? Yeah, I mean, this a little dicey topic. I'm gonna tell you, and it's not because I'm like I don't necessarily want to bash the U.S. because that's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that there's room for improvement, but there's more room for us to be better informed, for us to be better informed about, what we do and how we do it. I remember going on a European cruise many years ago. I'm going to say maybe 98, 99. I don't know. And we were driving with we had a driver that was taking us to Sorrento. And as we were, in the taxi, the topic of like politics had come up, and this driver was so knowledgeable of global politics, was so knowledgeable, and was basically asking us like what's going on with Americans, like why don't we like have a better understanding of global topics, like seem like we are stuck on just US stuff. And some might say, yeah, well, we should be focused on US stuff. Okay. If you have that thought, then why is the US so involved in other people's stuff, right? So that's the reason why you really need to know what's going on globally, because you need to know how these things that we're doing are affecting other people. And that, of course, would affect how people look at us, right? What they think about us. And the fact that when they engage us in these conversations, that, we don't have like anything to add to the conversation because we're just not well aware of things. And I've run into that many, many, many times. I've also run into, don't get me wrong, I've also run into other people in other places who think the US is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Absolutely. I have run into those people too. People who would give their right arm to be able to immigrate to the US. And typically, those people who say that they would like to come to the US are people who don't have as many opportunities in their homeland, and they typically are not as well aware of all the things that uh, the US has done governmentally to affect their country's government, typically. So that sort of not knowing kind of allows this sense of, love affair with the US. You know, let me tell you something. As a traveler, having a US passport has provided me with so many opportunities to go where I wanted to go, do what I wanted to do. Like I can get in, I can just slide in. I've seen it so many times. Like I get up, I'm like, for instance, when I'm coming into Europe, into a specific place, I go up there and I got all of my stuff, my documents, everything is ready, and like where I'm staying and how long I'm gonna be there, and I'm ready for the whole spiel, right? And they're like, "Oh, first time in Dublin," and I go, "Yeah," and they're like, oh, "Okay, enjoy your trip." That's it. Now the person ahead of me might have been from somewhere else that doesn't have the same ability to just, waltz in, and they have to break out everything, your mother's name, and I'm just saying, like, the hoops that they have to jump through. So I'm well aware of the power of the American passport, you know, but as a traveler, I've also seen the decline of the power of that American passport. Other countries have stronger passports than the U.S., and that might be a surprise to some Americans. But there are some other countries that have a much stronger passport than the U.S., that meaning they're able to get into more countries with that passport, either with no visa or a visa on arrival. Okay. So oftentimes when you have to have a visa, you have to apply in advance. And one thing as an American I've been able to do is sometimes, like I said, just waltz in with a "Hey, how you doing" kind of thing, and or get a visa on arrival where you just, you show that American passport and you fill out the little paperwork, and bing bang boom. If you have to pay a fee, you pay it and you just keep it moving. But like I said, others have to jump through the hoops, and to know that there are more countries saying, "Oh, we're going to put a restriction on you. Are you from the US? Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to charge you more." Like the US doesn't play. Like they make it so hard to get into here for anybody coming from other places. I have firsthand knowledge of someone who now he works for a cruise line, so he's doing a lot of traveling. But I remember him, he had been able to visit his family in the US. He was from Peru, and he had been able to visit his family in the US when he was like a teenager, and as an adult he tried at least twice that I know of to get into the US just to visit the same family, and was denied. And they were like, "Oh, you're not married, so you don't have a reason to come back. Oh, we just are not, comfortable." And keep in mind that this person had to take the little money that he was earning, and apply. And when they turn you down, they don't give you that money back. So these at least two times, I know that he had to pay for the visa application. He had to pay to travel to go to his to the capital city in order to have the in person. I'm just wanting you to understand this. The in-person interview. And so then he had to pay for a hotel, food, or whatever. He had to pay for the transportation to get there. He had to spend a good amount of money that it would take him a couple of months to accrue. And that I know of, at least two times, he was turned down because they felt like he was too much of a risk that he might not come back to his home country. And I'm just like, what in the world? Like, they make it so difficult for people to just even come to visit. And yet, this same country, Peru, when I would come to visit, would let me in no problem. Not only no problem, it didn't cost me anything to get in. He had to spend all this money just to come and visit, and I don't have to pay anything. So there are some countries that require some reciprocity. They're not playing. You charge us, we charge you. I remember that I wanted to go to the salt flats. I think it's called the Saluni Flats, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't go, so but I think it's called the Saluni Flats in Bolivia. I didn't go when other friends were traveling to Bolivia because of the visa fee. I want to say it was about $153 or $155 or something, and I was just not used to having to pay for a visa. So I was like, I don't want to pay. I want to go to places where I don't have to pay. When I knew that I could go to like Ecuador and Colombia, or whatever, and I didn't have to pay. I didn't have to pay, so I just didn't make it there, even though I had really wanted to go to Bolivia. So I say all of this, to say that I do owe a lot. I owe, I'm so grateful to have, that US passport because it is strong. But I do, have to ask the question, is America the greatest? Because the passport is getting weaker, the dollar is getting weaker. I think people are starting to see us in a different light, as they understand some of the overt and covert activities that we engage in when it comes down to the stability of, the country's government. I think that they're recognizing that we don't always have it right. We don't always get it right as a government. I think that that's really clear with the situation right now that's going on in Palestine. I think that's really clear. That's why we have so many people who are saying like we shouldn't support Israel. Whatever your thoughts are, whether you on one side or the other, but I know that more people are taking a harder look at us and just making us ask ourselves the question, are we actually the greatest, or were we the greatest and maybe not so great anymore? I don't know. I think we definitely have our strong points. We definitely offer opportunity to some, and no place is perfect. No place is perfect. Of all the countries I've been to, I never felt like, oh, this is just, utopia. Never have I ever said that. I don't feel that, it's like that. I just know that there is a difference between, saying you're the land of the free and the home of the brave and actually being that, and so, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a topic worth tackling. Like I said, it may be controversial because you may feel like there's no place better, and you should. They say east or west, home is best. If this is your home, then yeah, you may feel like it's the greatest. But I'm just saying, let that thought process be based in fact and not just assumption. That's all I'm saying. Because there are a lot of great places out there. Every country has work to do. Every country has work to do. I've never been to a perfect place. I don't know that the perfect place exists. So that's what I'm saying. This is not like to bash the US or even to compare, because like I said before, comparison is the thief of joy. So it's definitely not supposed to be a situation where we're talking about it being better than someplace else or worse than someplace else. It's not that. But I think that we should be asking ourselves a question. And I think that if we are asking ourselves a question, it helps us to be better travelers when we go somewhere, right? Because if you go to another country and the first thing that you're saying is, well, in America, we do it like this, there's something wrong with that. Because if you want it to be like America, then maybe you should stay in America. And I think that's the reason why so many people do. If you want to truly have a new experience, a different travel experience where you are able to appreciate where you're going, this new, situation that you're gonna have, like, okay, then yes, you should travel, you should go, and you should have that. But if you truly believe in your heart of hearts that America is the greatest and no other place can match it, touch it, and you don't see any reason, then yeah, you probably don't need a passport, because in my opinion, no place is perfect. No place is perfect. I don't know how to say more than that, but no place is perfect. But one thing I know as a traveler is that I appreciate every new experience, meeting new people and seeing something different. And I believe it prepares us when we have these different experiences. It prepares us for life because we don't know what challenges are going to come about. A personal story, when my parents have come to visit me in some of these other places, and they're like, "Oh, but you can't drink the water and this and that." You could, but I wouldn't. I mean, I drink bottled water, but you know what? When I'm in the U.S., I drink bottled water. So there really isn't a difference in that way. When you might say, "Well, the power gets cut," in some places, this is true. The power goes out. But because the power goes out, I'm less inclined to complain when there's a storm or something comes through in the US and the power goes out, right? I'm not scrambling because I know what I need to do because I'm used to doing it in other places. So that power's out, the roads are not great. Not everybody appreciates the African massage that you get when you riding on those roads that's a little bit of a rough terrain. I know this, but it makes me appreciate when I am in Germany and the roads is smooth. I'm just saying, I feel like instead of it being a negative, it helps me to appreciate the good that I see in other places. It makes me recognize that not everybody has the same opportunities that I may have. It helps me to, just to be a better, well-rounded person. Just having that information makes a difference. And I don't understand, honestly, I don't understand people who don't have passports, who don't travel, who aren't open to it. I don't understand it, but I say, do you, boo? Hey, you like it, I love it, whatever. For me, in order for me to truly feel free, I have to be able to travel. Okay? So I can be here and feel free-ish, or I can travel and feel freer. I choose to be freer. That's who I am. Okay? And so I would suggest that maybe if you're a person who wants to know what it's like to be in a different environment, to know how you'll be able to manage, whether or not you'll be able to immerse yourself in other cultures and appreciate the new experience. If you're one of those people, then I'm saying I'm all for it. Okay. I'm not saying that, I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to bash the US necessarily, but I do acknowledge that there are far more people who are going outside of the US now than before. There are so many more people who are looking for alternative ways of living and being, they just are because, some people are tired of the rat race. And I just made a video saying that, like, my generation needs to apologize to the younger generation because they decided that like, I've had enough. I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to do what my parents did. I'm not going to do what my grandparents did. Like, there's no benefit to me doing that. You know what I'm saying? I saw a video where Whoopi Goldberg was saying that you're not going to be able to work 4 hours a day and be able to own a house, and we worked our butts off. I think, as I said in my short video, listen, we big mad. My generation is big mad that we did all of this, and all we got is what we got. The fact that younger people have figured out a way to do a different thing in other places, I'm not mad at that. But they are willing to take the chances that my generation, for the most part, weren't really willing to do it. And I think a lot of it is steeped in this idea that America is the greatest. Like, if you have the greatest, why would you go anyplace else? I'm not saying it's not the greatest. That's your opinion or not. I'm not saying it is or it isn't. All I'm saying is that there's something to be said for being able to critically compare, critically look at, analyze what is happening here or there, what others are experiencing, and then make a decision as to what is best for you. Not necessarily the greatest, but best for you. If being here and never leaving is the best for you, then do that. Do that. But don't hate on those who say, I can have a luxury life in Thailand, or I can have a luxury life in the Philippines, or Bali, places that people only dream of going and visiting, right? Or Zanzibar. There are people who are buying villas in Italy and fixing them up and living there, or moving to Spain. People are looking for a better quality of life for less money. This whole rat race thing, people like, it's not the move. It really isn't the move. So all I'm saying is, maybe it's time to critically think about whether or not it's the greatest place for you. Maybe not the big question is America the greatest, but maybe, is it the greatest place for you? Yes, your friends and family are here. Everything that you know from here, but maybe there's room to learn more. Maybe there's room to do more. And I'm just suggesting that if you have that inkling, then you explore that. If you don't, no harm, no foul. You don't have to. Be you. Do what works for you. Okay? As for me and mine, meaning me, myself, and I, travel is the way for me. It is the way I feel the best. Talking about travel makes me happy. Going other places, just knowing that I'm going, knowing that I'm going somewhere is everything to me. And then getting there and having these experiences and meeting new people, that's everything. So, like I said, maybe it's not so much whether or not America's the greatest, but maybe it's about, is it the greatest for you? So, thank you for sharing this time with me. I would greatly appreciate it if you would give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment below. Like I said, it may be a little controversial, but leave a comment below and let's get into it. Let's chop it up. Okay? And like this video, comment, please do share it with someone who you feel like it might be interesting for them to take a look at. And if you haven't, subscribe. Okay? As I like to say, do good and be better. All right? Ciao for now.